Hello again, everyone. It's the Propsmith here, and today I'm going to be reviewing for you the 11th and 12th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver by Rubbertoe Replicas. So first off, it comes in this very nice stained wood box with hinges there and some nice laser engraving on the lid. Right there it says 11th and 12th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and just refer to this as the 11th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver since now Peter Capaldi's getting his own finally, despite the fact that it looks like a dildo, but whatever. So without further ado, let's flip this baby open and see what we got inside. First thing you're greeted by is a piece of cloth set into some foam rubber with Gallifreyan texty writing. Here we've got a stand. This is signed by Nick Rubbertoe, the owner of Rubbertoe Replicas and original manufacturer of the Sonic on the television show. This one is not mine, it is borrowed, but it is number 97 of 250. Very limited edition run. All nicely engraved. I really like this stand. And then copyright information. So we'll set that aside for now. And take this out. Now this is the Sonic in a little cloth bag to keep it all protecty and nice. I'll take the Sonic out. And before we get to that, just a note about the bag. I've heard of some people who keep this bag nice and pristine and iron it every once in a while, but really only do that if you are a prepubescent psychopath. That's the only kind of person who does this. You know, the kind of person that would also take apart their $1,000+ Sonic screwdriver and rewire it and muck about with it pointlessly, endlessly. So yes, unless you're a psychopath, preferably named Joel, don't iron your little cloth thing. All right, so that's the case. It's a case. You're not going to keep your Sonic in this because you want to look at it. So that's out of here and on to the replica itself. And replica is a little loose term. Essentially, for the new series, these are going to be pretty accurate, almost dead on. They are essentially using this replica as the prop now. If you're interested in pure 11th Doctor Matt Smith Sonic goodness, it's not going to be 100%. It's not the same exact thing that they are currently using. But we'll go over that. So starting off, none of this is cheap material. It's all copper and aluminum and real leather here. And overall, having a look at it, it's very nice. You've got a nice swirl in the lens, which does light up. It's a nice green. It does flick to extend. And like I said, the materials are really nice. There are some severe issues with this to me, though. If you look at this upper cage section, the first thing you're going to notice are these huge gaps where you can see inside the Sonic. You'll notice how it has a lot of wobble there. These rivets are frankly gigantic. I mean, they really stand out a lot more than they did originally on the props. One thing I noticed is on the interior of the claws, you'll see this little line here. And my feeling is that that line is from CNCing the shape out, but not all the way through, and then flipping over and doing the same on the other side to get the full cutout. And every one of the claws has that little line in it, which is not present on the original props, and to me it's a little distracting, but it's a tiny thing. Then looking at these lines here, they're the correct length, but you'll notice they're a bit off center sometimes. That one's off center, that one's off center. Okay, they're all off center. And even worse than these gaps, if you'll look at the struts, they are actually not even cut straight. You'll see this one comes straight and then like dips in there. Here's the one that's the worst. You see that? That's like really, I know that these are CNC'd for the replicas. They're CNC'd, so I don't know why that's there. That is really just awful. That is ugly. And even if one of the original props did have this feature because those were hand milled, that's not acceptable to me. You may have a different opinion. Maybe you think that that's charming. I think that that's horrific and ugly. And if you put it right against the copper strut, you'll see how bad that is. It's just awful. If you were on a date and their teeth looked like that, you would not kiss that person. Moving to the inside, the core has a beautiful swirl on it, like absolutely amazing swirl. But this one arrived to its owner like this, with that crack in it. That is really not ideal at all. And there's an additional chip in the upper core here. If you can make that out at the bottom, it arrived like that. Furthermore, there's see how this is offset. This leather is actually sticking out beyond the edge there. Now the leather all on its own is perfect. It's very nice leather. It's not quite as nice as the leather on the Celestial Toy Store, but this is a more accurate leather. Looking at the photos, this is the leather that was used on the original props, and this middle section has the perfect shape, unlike the Celestial Toy Store, which was just a little rounded right here. But this isn't a comparison between those two, so I just wanted to point out that it did get, I mean, most of it is right, but this whole upper section and this assembly right here, those are the bad parts of this. And for the price that's being charged, I don't think that that's acceptable. I don't think anyone should put up with it. And I'm not trying to be mean to Rubbertoe Replicas or Nick Rubbertoe, but this definitely could have been done better. And this is not an isolated incident. I've seen lots of people complaining about these gaps. And apparently Rubbertoe is going to be offering soon wider copper struts that he will put on for free, but you'll need to pay for materials and postage. So he is addressing it. And this is, as we said, an early edition, number 97. So it may have improved over time, but for manufacturing a replica at this cost, really it should have started with perfection, not gotten there by the time the last person buys one. Now I wanted to have a look at this handle. It has beautiful machining marks here. I imagine that it is cast off the original, as that was hand machined, and then all the subsequent props were then cast from that. And for people, and as I said, this is not a CT comparison, but for people who doubted that CT had access to the original props, I've looked at these very carefully, and the machine marks match up 100% perfectly. And in fact, the CT machine marks are a little sharper and more defined than they are on the Rubbertoe. So this can't be copied off a Rubbertoe replica. This had to have been copied from the same one as this. And that puts to rest any doubt that anyone should have about the legitimacy of CT's claims to have had the originals. But this handle is very nice. It's not quite as yellow as the CT's. It will get there with time, as is perfectly natural. And it's got nice speckling. This handle is perfect, essentially, is what I'm saying. The pommel also perfect. No flippy hinge, because this is the type that was used toward the end of Matt Smith's time and for Peter Capaldi's time with his Sonic before he gave it to Davros. Now, the other big issue I have with this is the flicking, which works fine. It flicks just fine. And despite claims of it being pretty rickety, and even Rubbertoe himself saying, be a little careful with that, it doesn't feel like it's going to break. But it does feel somehow limp. Most of the time when I flick it open, I feel like it's only gone halfway, but it has gone the whole way. It just doesn't, it's not very satisfying. I'm used to that one, which is fantastic. And see, the difference is just unbelievable. But again, not a comparison. Sorry, you're here for this. All told, for no sound at all, unless you pay 140 pounds or about $200 extra. And this doesn't push up very well. And though accurate to one of the screen use props, this very, very thin knurling section, like, it's nice, guys. It's really nice. I really like it. And it is well made when held on its own merits. It looks beautiful on its little stand. It comes in a great box. If this were the only option going, I would say it's worth the price. But there's another option available at a similar price. And if you can get that, I would recommend that over this any day. 100%. To use one and then use this, to use the other one and then use this, just makes this super disappointing. It's not all it should be. And it is from the maker of the props. It is signed, it's numbered, it's officially licensed. In the long run, it may hold more resale value because of those things. I don't know. For me, I'm never selling my Sonic, so that doesn't really matter. But all told, if you want something that you can put on display very nicely in your home, this is a fantastic Sonic. It's just not the best one. And I didn't set out to make a scathing review, but it seems to be turning out that way. Even little things like these totally square brackets. Not a fan of that. It's not accurate. The bulb shape here is not accurate. This should be much flatter. This is almost like the character options bulb. The fragility, the gaps. I just see those things now more than I see the awesomeness of this. And I have to keep reminding myself, it is awesome. It is awesome. It's just not good enough for me. But if you buy one, it's not a bad purchase. And I'm sure you wouldn't regret it as long as you don't ever get your hands on the Celestial Toy Store. So if you buy one of these, please don't ever touch a Celestial Toy Store 11th Doctor Sonic. You'll never be able to see this one the same again. If you don't ever touch the Celestial Toy Store, you'll be so happy with this. Honestly, you'll love it. So there's that review. And if you'd like to see any of the other reviews, click on one of these boxes for the corresponding Sonic, or hit the box for the Ultimate 11th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver Showdown. Thanks, everybody, and don't forget to subscribe.